I have struggled with this for 5 years, but I think it is finally time to upgrade my very first polar bear purchase that I picked up at the 2019 National at this year's 2024 National. But why has it been so hard for me to upgrade this severely trimmed T206 polar bear card? And the card that I'm referring to here is this T206 Hall of Famer, Chicago Cubs player, Frank Chance. But why has it been so hard? When you look at this card, it really speaks volumes to who originally possibly owned this card back after it was released in 1910. Look, we make decisions today about modern sports cards that we think are correct, and when you look at this severely trimmed Frank Chance, the person who made those decisions with that card thought they were also doing the correct thing, but when we look down the road 115 years, maybe they shouldn't have trimmed off those sides. But there's more to it than just those sides. Number one, they had to have been a polar bear fan because they trimmed the card along the lines of the back. On the flip side though, you can also see the border on the front. So maybe this was the single greatest centered Frank Chance in the existence of all Frank Chances, and they butchered the card by trimming it off. But I'll just go with they're a polar bear fan. But then number two, you can look at the rust marks at the bottom. You can almost imagine this being pinned up on a corkboard, and some early collector was looking at it every single morning they woke up. And this is why for me it's been so hard to upgrade this card. It's not so much about it being the first. I literally have it on my forearm these days, so I can look at it right here if I need to. But it's about this card really, for me as a collector, takes me back to the original collector who owned this card. There is some serious intent on this card. There is also an incredibly clear picture of Frank Chance. This is way more than a beater. This is just a trimmed card that was then kept very, very safe over the maybe many decades that this customer or this collector owned the card. And this is also why I advocate when you're brand new to pre-war, pick up these cards raw, hold them, touch them. It takes you back to a time period that you will never exist in. I'm sure the owner of this card, his fingerprints or her fingerprints are somewhere on this card. I feel in a way connected to that individual. And so for me, it's not so much about the card, but I feel like I'm giving up on this collector if I upgrade this card, more so than I ever have with any other card that's been in my set. I've upgraded several of them over the many years and never thought twice about not upgrading it. But this Chance, even if I do upgrade it in Chicago, I'm absolutely going to keep this card. I probably should get it regraded with SGC. It was in a very old SGC slab when I picked it up for 60 bucks back in 2019, just to keep it safe for the many, many years. But we will see what I find this next week in Cleveland. And so if you see a Frank Chance at a table, tag me on Instagram, send me a DM on X or Twitter, let me know you found a Frank Chance. I'm going to be obviously very picky here. My budget is in between more than likely an SGC 2 and an SGC 3, or heck, maybe even a really nice raw copy. 75% of my set is still raw, and I'm not really in a super, I would say, motivated way to continue to upgrade this set. I'm looking at completing an Old Mill Southern League back run set. I have dreams of completing a complete Sov 150 back run set. So we'll see kind of how this week transpires. But if you see a Frank Chance polar bear at a table, absolutely let me know. Let's see if we can upgrade this card and at the same time showcase this original T206 Frank Chance polar bear that I picked up 5 years ago. And if you love T206 and you want to learn more about the players that have a polar bear backed T206 card, hit that subscribe button.